you know, here with like the Golden Pepe, who's like, I mean, isn't that also a bit? Well, kind of depends what you consider Middle East. If you like consider like Turkey and Iran and like Armenia, Georgia, Azerbaijan as Middle East, then those would be the whitest. Um, and I think those countries often are called the Middle East because but and some of them are really like white, like white. I mean, not white because I mean nobody's white. Like obviously this is not. I'm not the same color as a sheet of paper, but um, you know, uh, well, melanoma is caused not by heat but by UV radiation. So in fact, just the heat per se isn't a problem. But yeah, they have more UV radiation, so it's true. It's true. Um, yeah, and they do have melanoma. That's the thing. Um, but the worst place for melanoma is Australia, because there you got really pale people in a really high UV country. Yeah, that's true. Well, there's more or less a north-south gradient, right? And the darkest are like the Yemenis in that peninsula. Um, so because they're the closest to sub-Saharan Africa. Um, so yeah, there's a bit of a definitely a gradient there. Um, uh, but who cares? Again, this is sort of silly stuff. Focusing on that stuff is sort of is not good. Um, it's silly to focus on that stuff. So I urge you not to. I think you should just again, nobody. I'm not even saying that like you shouldn't be allowed to practice your thing. I think you should it should be frowned upon. Like, okay, if banning Islam would actually eliminate it, then I would actually support banning it. But I don't think it would. I think it would create backlash. And so instead, well, because of that, what I support is keeping it legal, but just fostering a culture that recognizes the the evil of these religions, and so that we so that people just then voluntarily abandon the religions. That is what needs to be done. Um, and so that is what I advocate for. And um, so the point is that you still like you say, oh, I don't want to have this global society. Well, actually, what did he try? He didn't try anything like that. Well, yeah, and that's kind of my point, is that you could actually have a global society and people would get along and and you'd still be allowed to do your religion. You just wouldn't be allowed to like uh, you know harm people for having like homosexual relationships or like sex outside of marriage and that kind of stuff. Like and it's just a trivial issue restricting. Oh, yeah. Yeah, but it wasn't quite the same. It wasn't like a societal wide ban on Islam. It wasn't that, right? Um, so, because that's what I'm talking about, and I don't think that that would work. Uh, so, I mean, because it would create too much backlash. So what you need is to get them of their own accord. It just needs to become irrelevant. You need to just have Islam become irrelevant. No, because you don't need to destabilize. You like literally just need to have people agree that it's a bad thing. Like to have a country, you don't have to destabilize. You don't need to destabilize a country. All you need to do is um, is have people recognize that it would be better to be united, and then just democratically like decide to unite. You see what I mean? And it's not about like destabilizing anything. It's about just countries actually voluntarily coming to agree that it's better to not have separate countries. And again, I don't want to forbid you from practicing your thing. Again, I don't like your religion, but um, Unfortunately, in practice, I think it would be, in any case, I believe in individual freedom. So I think we should let people do what they want, as long as it doesn't harm other people. Now, I actually think that practicing Islam does harm other people, which is why I think that there is a solid case for banning Islam. But like I said, in practice, it would create backlash. And in practice, well, I don't just want to ban religion. I want to foster rationality and like actual genuine like freedom, freedom of thinking that goes with rationality. And so I want this to be something that comes from within, I want people to abandon religion because they recognize that's something that should be abandoned, not because they're forced to abandon it. Um, so in practice, no. Well, no. In practice, I think your beliefs are your beliefs are themselves oppressive and harmful. So in theory, I would potentially support banning them. In practice, I do not, which means that in practice you would be free to engage in your beliefs. You just no. The point, like I said, is that in theory I would support it, so potentially support banning it. In practice, I wouldn't for the reason that I explained. For the reason that I explained, I would not support banning it, and so you would actually be free in practice to practice your religion, but I would highly disapprove of it, and I would want to foster a culture that disapproves of religion, even if in the same way that nowadays, like, in the United States, people like, they get all worried about Satanism and they disapprove of that. So you disapprove of religion in that way. No, in this hypothetical, people have adopted these beliefs. I'm not the leader. It's a democracy. It's a democracy. There is no one leader. It's not even the democracy like the U.S. where there's like one powerful president. Um, so there isn't any particular leader. I'm not the leader, but in this hypothetical, which I would want is that they adopt these values, which I'm promoting, which to me are not, it's not me. It's just rational values, and that means that you give people freedom as long as it doesn't harm others, and so you would be free to practice your religion, um, but hopefully you just I would want to create a society that just kind of spontaneously recognizes that religion is bad and that should be abandoned. That is what I advocate for. Hopefully that is somewhat clear. And I think then you would you just have your religion, and you could still be a Muslim. You could still have your four wives. It wouldn't be state sanctioned, so you wouldn't have a state sanctioned marriage. I'd get rid of state marriage, but you could still have religious marriage. You could still cohabitate with whoever you want. But on the other hand, you couldn't send a person to prison or stone that person to death for like a woman who's cohabiting with multiple males or something, or for anybody who's like cohabiting with people who without being married. You couldn't do anything like that. Um, you couldn't oppress people for like their sexual behavior, except when it was actually coercive, except when it was actually an assault on against somebody else, obviously. Um, but you wouldn't be able against consensual behavior. You wouldn't be able to be oppressed for your consensual sexual behavior. That is what I'm saying. And again, why would you oppose that? Like literally, do you are you so hell bent on like oppressing people, on like punishing people for having? But this is horrible. Don't you understand? People are just homosexual from birth. I like there you have homosexuals on Namu. And this is again why you're horrible and why it makes no sense for all these supposedly progressive people to defend like Islam and stuff. Because literally Islam is horrible. Like most Muslims hate homosexuals. They're ultra oppressive and ultra like right-wing quote, and it makes no sense for these progress. It makes no sense for these supposedly progressive people to like defend Islam and say, "Oh, stop being Islamophobic." Like, Islamophobia is not a bad thing. Like, what if it's like you can't actually dislike Islam without wanting to hurt Muslim people. Um, so like literally, it's not about living among homosexuals. Like, okay, what all that you're saying, all that we're saying is that you should allow them to exist, and that's what you're saying. You're literally saying that you should oppress them and not let them exist. You literally what you're saying is we don't want to live among homosexuals, which means you literally want to murder homosexuals, and that is such a horrible thing that I am sorry, but I'm like banning you because it's just too horrible, I think. Honestly, there's just so much horribleness. I don't. I can't stand this shit anymore. Um, I'm sorry. He literally advocates for eternal torture, and so that's already okay. So it's not an actual thing. I know, I know, but it's just at this point. Um, I did too. I did too, but Islam is just too horrible a religion. I just cannot. After a while, you know, uh, like literally, he's advocating for the most evil of all imaginable things. I've already explained. I The problem is that at this point I banned him. I'm not sure I can unban him. How do I do that? I have no idea how. Like literally, there's no way for me to do this. I have no idea. I'm sure it provides discussion, but still it pisses me off. If somebody knows how to, if it has a sort of thing. Really? Does this work? Oh wait, oh wait, and I gotta do brackets. Oh wait. Does this work? Wait. Oh wait, no. Did I make a mistake? It says the user doesn't exist. Oh wait, no, wait, I, no, wait, I think I did a mistake. Alright. You need to, at. I need to slash, so what do I have to write exactly? Oh, then type slash timeout? No, so what do I have to do? Yeah, but I can't do that. Like it's not, it doesn't come up anymore. It doesn't come up. Tell me exactly. Give me the precise string. Okay. Okay, so that worked. Thank you. Okay, but you deserve to be banned because you're a monster. You're a monster, but I do support freedom of speech. So there you go. But anyway, he deserved to be banned. Like literally, if you're a Muslim, you're a monster. I'm sorry to say this, and a typical Christian. Um, it's really an abomination. I don't know why it's a sort of a lefty thing to support Islam. It makes no sense. Marx said that religion is opium of the people. He was completely right about that. The sort of leftist support of Islam, it's actually the reason is because basically most political movements are actually kind of very much U.S. influenced by the USA, and the USA is very a religious country, and so it tends to kind of conflate freedom of religion with pro-religion attitudes. And so as a result, what's happened is that then even other countries across the world have ended up adopting that too. So in the end, the sort of the idea of freedom of religion has almost become an idea of like being pro-religion. So that I think it's the sort of religious U.S. influence, which has made that like lots of lefty people. Oh yeah. Um, that's a good question. Is there? Presumably yes. Presumably yes, because presumably that. Yeah, but does the U.S. like really control the conflict? I don't know. I'm not entirely sure they really. I'm not entirely sure they really benefit at this point. I'm. I don't know. I'm not convinced that anybody really benefits. I mean, we know that lots of powerful people benefit from conflict. There's, divide and rule principle. I'm just not sure that in this particular instance there really is all that much benefit. Um, I don't know. I think it's yeah. I mean, probably there's stuff like that. I'm just not sure it's really all that intentional. I mean, because lots of people also, we're seeing that wars are really expensive and stuff at the same time, and we're seeing that those wars aren't really beneficial necessarily to the U.S. I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced that. Presumably, there are some people in the USA who kind of think like that, but I'm not sure it would even benefit the USA. In any case, it's just all completely idiotic. So, I'm also seeing I supposedly have 5 viewers. So it looks like there are some people here that aren't commenting. So if they want to comment, you deserve to be banned. But I kind of like banning and unbanning. It's sort of better than suspending because then people like feel that it's kind of like your hell thing, It's like you're eternally banned, but then not. That would be a much fairer thing, right? Rear God, that would be much better. Um, the point is that you deserve to be banned because if anyone deserves to be banned, it would be you, since you actually support ultimate evil. Um, oh no, I got rid of the conversation. That's sort of too bad. I've got to how I've got to figure out how to avoid to not have posts removed from banned person Twitch. How do I do that? It always does that. There's no way to ban a person without eliminating that person's chat. Okay. That's too bad. How about suspensions? Because it seemed like suspensions also did that. Does that also automatically do that? Okay. Well, that's sort of unfortunate because it's nice to see. It's nice to see what those people actually commented. Like even if you ban them, why? That is honestly that is really silly. Like you might still value the person's chat, but and yeah, just me. Like in any case, I don't know how. I mean, I don't see it either. But I mean, I don't want it just to be me to see it. I would want everybody to see it. I mean, that way you see also people. understand. I don't even know what that is. I know there's like stuff like that, but I don't know how that stuff works. Presumably you mean like somebody to do something automatically for me, to like automatically ban stuff for me. But I don't have any. Like, how would I do that anyway? Okay, except I don't even know how to click to find them in the list of viewers. I don't have the list of viewers here. See, and when I ban them, then I can't click on their name. It's only when it's only when the person is unbanned that I can click on the name. Because once they're banned, I can't find them anymore. Oh god, this is gonna be... Shut up. Wait. Okay. So basically gotta record. So that's what I'm doing. I mean, when I do it. Well, I'll figure this out. I won't take up the stream time for doing this. Especially since I want to upload this to YouTube. Well, and I'll put back the text to speech thing. I think it's pretty useful because it avoids it. It spares my voice from having to read them out. Unmute tab. Here we go. Yeah. So I had a quick look. So can I finish my point? There are certain things that Muslim community wouldn't accept living around them. Doesn't mean kill, just means deport or let them get help or something. Okay. Okay, well, if you're not saying kill, okay, but deport already is pretty problematic because, again, what I'm talking about is creating a global society where I mean, deport is already like very, it's like a strong violation of a person's like rights to like live wherever they want. And let them get help, again, it's not, they maybe don't want the help, they don't need the help. And we're not even saying, we're not saying that they should force themselves onto you. We're just saying let them, like, again, it's so irrational. Like, why are you not okay with homosexuality? It's just completely irrational. Why would you be against it? It makes no sense. Like, literally, it makes no sense, and you should be accepting of it. We're not saying that you should let yourself be raped by somebody like that, but if they want to, if a male wants to have a male like boyfriend or something, just let that person have one. It's not like literally, it's totally oppressive to think otherwise, and it literally hurts. It's very hurtful to the people who actually are homosexual and who are just like that inherently. Um, The point is that it still ends up hurting people. Even if it's not out of hate, it ends up hurting people. You see? It ends up hurting people a lot. I met a gay person in Morocco, okay? And he was very sad. He was he was very, very sad, and I can tell you your society is very, very corrupted. I mean, look at how much better European society is compared to Muslim society. And to the extent that European society is corrupted is mostly because, like, basically, I mean, already your God is, again, I want to point out how completely horrible your God is if your God thinks that. Again, I want you to point out how completely horrible your God is to send somebody to hell for just being gay or for like having homosexual sex, whatever. Imagine how completely horrible it is. And I really, really want to ban you again. So I want the point is I'm talking about creating a global society which has the same values everywhere. So obviously he can't just deport, and he can't go to Europe because he's not, in any case now, he's not accepted in Europe. There's no way, Europe is pretty tough on immigration. He can't do that, okay? Um, and he's very sad. And look, you piss me off. I'm banning you again. I'm sorry. Your thing is so fucking horrible that even if it creates an interesting conversation, it's it's interesting just to see the extent of your depravity. And you understand quite how incredibly fucking horrible your thing is? Do you see the extent? And I'm telling you, like, allowing homosexuals won't corrupt your society. Your society is utterly corrupted. Western European society is so much better than your society. It's just unbelievable. And to the extent that Western society is being corrupted, yeah, well, make me, yeah. They're because they're horrible. The point is that I believe in freedom of speech, but not when it's something so fucking horrible as that. And what I'm saying is, to the extent that Western society is losing its values and being corrupted, it's mostly because of Muslim immigrants. So no, not a white, not a white. It has nothing to do with white. I'm telling you again, and I repeat, that you are being racist for thinking that, like, Muslims are like inherently non-white and that like all like Middle Eastern people are inherently Muslim. No, it's not white supremacist. I'm a rationalist supremacist. I'm saying that Europeans have created a better culture and that you could too. You could too, and that is what I want. I want you to create a better culture because you are suffering from your own completely corrupted, degenerate culture. Um, it's the opposite of white supremacism. I don't think that there's nothing inherently better about like supposedly like European, like white people. But again, I'm not talking about like Arabian or whatever. Except that actually Islam, one of the pillars of Islam is jihad, which is the promotion of Islam. So in practice, if you're a proper Muslim, you actually believe in the promote. Yeah, I mean, I know I can just click on his name and time him out, but 6,000 is not enough. I'm just I don't want to suspend all the time. But no, because I already did that. I already did that, and he came back. Remember, he's come back. He's come back from a first timeout. He's come back from. Oh no, was it somebody else that came back for a first timeout? No, I think it was him that came back for a first timeout. Was it? I can't remember. Was it him that I timed out? I think it was him. Um, and and I can't remember. So yeah, I already timed him out maybe once. I've certainly banned him once. He's come back. So I'm glad to see that he's still he's hanging in there, and he's still. I mean, kudos for him for actually watching me. I mean, I'm glad to have people watch me. I just I just I can't I can't abide by horrible beliefs and just sort of. I'm not getting a headache. The point is that Islam is just a horrible religion. And I mean, most religions are pretty horrible. Islam is just the most horrible of the main ones. Christianity is marginally better. Again, nothing to do with white supremacism here. I think like a thing like Jainism is much nicer. Um, so like it's not it's not about like European supremacism that I'm talking about here. Islam is a nasty religion, and it's not being hateful towards people who believe in Islam that I say that. It's quite the contrary, that I want to help them because it's a disease, and I wanna help them get rid of the disease. And again, you go to those countries with an open mind and an open heart, and you should normally feel the same horror that I felt. You feel the horror of that evil and the weirdness of that evil being considered as good. And I honestly like it feels really like the orcs from I like that sort of Lord of the Rings reference. It really feels like orcs who almost think that they're doing the right thing by serving Sauron when you know that it's like utterly evil. And it really feels like just going like when I go to a trip to like to the Middle East or something, it feels or like in Morocco in particular, it's the same society. It feels like taking a trip to Mordor. Even though, yes, absolutely, there are some people who are like individually like nice and friendly and stuff, but at the same time, there's this horrible oppressive religion. Um, it's not that everyone is like mean there or anything like that, or that everyone is like murder or something. No, but in practice, you still feel that evil religion poisoning their minds, and it's because I care about them that I want to change this. See, the average like anti-Muslim person, that people complain about saying, oh, you're Islamophobic and stuff, these sort of typical like typically European supremacists that says, oh, we don't want more Muslim immigrants and stuff. They are actually perfectly okay to just let Muslims suffer in their own country from Islam, and I disagree with that. It's not okay because they are suffering. Okay, there are loads of people in those countries that are suffering from that religion, and I don't want that to. I care about people equally, and I'm not at all okay with Islam being prevalent in any country any more than I am in Europe. To me, it's the same. Um, it's just as bad in the originally Muslim countries as it is in Europe, and that needs to be addressed. It needs to be addressed, and so does any excessive Christianity, which in particular in Africa is very oppressive. In Africa, they're doing the same shit in the name of Christianity, um, and again, that is very very nasty. Um, so again, please don't construe it as some sort of weird, uh, you know, like Euro ethno-nationalist, supremacist mindset. It has nothing to do with that. It's literally the opposite. Um, I I want to help people, and I think that people they will be generally much happier with getting rid of religion, and so obviously you can't just get rid of religion because then you have issues of like economic inequality, which is why you also need to have a good economic system so that people can just genuinely enjoy their existence and then stop needing religion to feel enjoyment. And so while currently the countries with the that are like largely have abandoned religion to the greatest extent and like provided the most individual freedom are also those which have the greatest economic development in terms of both absolute amounts but also distribution. And so those are like those Nordic countries, and so obviously those countries have largely they've abandoned their oppressive traditional beliefs to the greatest extent. And so obviously I think those things go together, and I think if you create a society which offers lots of economic well-being, wealth and economic freedom, then you're gonna also see a decline in religion as a result. um, and so that is absolutely what I advocate for. And again, also, like, again, if you're like a person who doesn't like, oppressive religion, then you should also advocate for a global basic income because of that. Like, um, you're gonna de-radicalize, lots of religious people by doing that. So again, please support a global basic income. Yep. You too. Thank you for watching. You've already been here for a long, long time. Um, that I appreciate your watching. Uh, so let's see. Is there anybody else? Is HockeyPuck33? Are you still here? Is there anybody else watching for some reason? It sells. So yeah, go. Feel free to leave. Anybody, of course, feel free to leave whenever. Anybody who's still watching, do you also just like feel like calling it a day and ending right now, or would you like to keep like viewing the stream? If anybody like wants to keep streaming, I can discuss about other things too. I've been kind of going in circles on the same topic. I can definitely cover other topics, so I'm just waiting for. Yeah. Uh, okay. Like again, Hockey Puck is. I can do lots of other things. Among other things, I also just like watch. Um, I've been watching myself a Netflix series. So if you just want to watch that, but it's going to be in sort of the middle of something, right? So it's not going to be really interesting from you. Like I wouldn't do that from if I were you. But I mean, if you want to, you can do that because I might go and do that. If there's anybody else watching, of course, you're also welcome to to just comment. Okay, so you're leaving. All right. So I'm gonna at that point I'm gonna leave it at that. And see you soon. Bye.